Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Desktop Ball. It's the only show where I sit at my desktop and talk ball. Today is Tuesday, December 10th, and we had conference championship week. We've got a playoff bracket. A lot of the NFL is boring because a lot of the teams are eliminated, and a lot of the NFL is a blast because a lot of the teams are playing extremely meaningful games. We've got a ton to talk about. Let's start it off. What I'm most passionate about right now because of my Texas Longhorns, of course, given that my New York Giants are completely eliminated and tanking, all I really care about is college football. And it's been a little painful in recent weeks to only care about college football. But here we are. First, let's talk about how incredible the conference championship weekend was now that the big conferences have done away with divisions. How great is it that we did not have to watch Iowa or Minnesota or Wisconsin or some shitty Big Ten West team play in the Big Ten championship against either Penn State, Michigan, or Ohio State, right? Like, consider how great this Big Ten championship game or the SEC championship game, not having to, give LSU a charity spot or, any of the conference championship games. Now that the divisions have gone away and it's truly the two best, most deserving teams, maybe not best, but most deserving teams in the conference championship, I would still say Ohio State is better than Penn State. They beat them head to head, but you can't lose to Michigan. Um, but yeah, I mean, now that it's the most deserving teams, I mean, look at these games. Clemson, walk-off field goal. Georgia, overtime walk-off touchdown. Oregon wins the game by 8 points. Arizona State, we'll get there, but they blew the doors off of Iowa State. So conference championships are super fun without the divisions. I'm a massive fan of how this weekend went. I thought it was an absolute blast. Boise State gets a win, gets in. Um, Oregon, I'm surprised that they allowed 37 points. I think Oregon is really good. I think they're the best team in the country. I have some gripes with how things shook out for them, which we'll talk about. But to allow 37 points to Penn State, who's not the best offense in college football, right? As a Longhorns fan, it gives me hope. Let me just say that. As a Longhorns fan, it gives me hope. It makes me believe that maybe there's a path because I'm not convinced about this Penn State team. However, Oregon puts up 45. They're really, really good. They deserve to be the number one seed. They are the number one seed. And then in the SEC championship, Georgia beats Texas in a game that Texas just absolutely dominated in the first half, completely dominated, and came away with a 6-3 lead. Just killer penalties, killer turnovers, just the classic Texas story. Quinn Ewers not elevating the team, hit some good throws, but also had some what the hell moments. Matthew Golden was incredible. Texas only had 32 rush yards or something like that in the game. And I mean, that's the difference. If you can't run the ball and you can't trust your quarterback to elevate the team, right? I mean, as I've said a few times on this show, the fact that when the tough got going, Texas was able to turn around and just hand the ball off and average 6-7 yards per carry with Quintravion Wisner against the latter half of the season, be it Florida or A&M or all those other bad teams that we played during that time. It was promising to just be like, okay, even if Quinn Ewers has a bad game, we can trust this run game. But in a matchup style game where you're not going to get offensive line pushed to 6, 7, 8 yards per carry, and the first 5 of those yards untouched, when you're getting contact in 1 yard, missing the top 3 backs is a problem. Playing with your 4th and 5th string running back is a problem because you don't have that break it potential. And I really like Quintravion Wisner, but he got bottled up in this game. And we showed many times that when times were tough, we didn't trust Quinn Ewers to keep throwing it. We could just run the ball. But when there is no run game because Georgia is stifling it and you have to throw the ball all game long, Quinn Ewers did not look good enough, in my opinion, in this game. Um, Either he needs to be better or Texas needs to go to Arch. Um, it's especially frustrating that Arch doesn't. I don't know. That Arch doesn't get in the game. I'll finish the thought and then evaluate how I actually feel about it. It's frustrating that Arch doesn't get in the game after what Haynes King did to Georgia. Haynes King put up 42 on Georgia. That's the Georgia Tech quarterback with his legs. He's got killer legs and he ran the ball all over Georgia. They couldn't account for Haynes King's legs. And whether or not Arch would have been better, I guess we'll never know unless we get him a third time and we play Arch. But I guess we'll never know. Um, but the lack of quarterback mobility, the running into sacks, a few missed deep balls, you just find a way to lose this game. It just felt like a game that was won. Like it felt like it was over. And you look up and the score 6-3, and Georgia's receiving the ball in the start of the third quarter. You're like, wait, like it doesn't matter that we're outgaining them, it's like 250 to 10 in yards. Like we're like it doesn't matter that we've dominated all game because Georgia drives the field, scores a touchdown, and it's like oh shit, like we're in trouble. And yeah, I mean, credit to Georgia. Georgia's really, really good, and this is with their backup quarterback, who actually provided a spark and played better than Carson Beck played. It's just really frustrating as a Texas fan. A game that you just have to find a way to win that game. You outgain them. They have to go to their second string quarterback. Your defense allows 16 points in regulation to one of the best teams in the country. You fucking have to figure that out. You have to score more than 16 points. It's unacceptable. It's absolutely unacceptable. It falls on Sark. It falls on Quinn. And it falls on the O-line, who got no push all game and allowed sacks all game. Clemson jumped out on SMU. A buddy of mine and I have a bet regarding SMU and whether or not they're going to be any good in the playoff. And when Clemson jumped out on them, I was like, dude, you're an idiot. Clearly, this SMU team is not very good. I still don't think they're very good. I don't particularly think Clemson's that good either. Even though Texas plays Clemson, and I'll eat my words should we lose. I will be at that game. I'm very much looking forward to being at that game. This is a great win for the Tigers. They find a way to get in. You just know Cam Ward and Miami are sitting at home thinking we would have killed this SMU team. And how did we let ourselves lose to Syracuse? And I don't know. Maybe you're just not that good, Miami. Arizona State whomps Iowa State. There's really not much to talk about in that game. Boise State whomps UNLV. Army and Tulane both out, so I don't really care. But credit to Army for winning the American, I believe, in their first year in the conference. Here we go. We got a bracket. Okay. We have ourselves a bracket. So we've got Georgia as the 2. They're down here with a bye. We can't get everything on the screen, but this is what it looks like. Okay. So what jumps out at you? Whose road jumps out at you as a really, really difficult road? If you just look for, I don't know, a couple seconds, I guess it's easier to say who jumps out as an easy road. Everybody's going to talk about Penn State, Penn State, Penn State, Penn State. One easy road. They play SMU, they play Boise State. Two group of 5 teams really, and then they get to play the weaker of the top 2 seeds in the Orange Bowl in the semifinals. I mean, Penn State's road is definitely really easy, and that's fine. I know everybody wants to talk about how easy Penn State's road is, so I'll just say it. Penn State's road is easy. Oh, and let me preface before I say anything, because I am going to say some negative things about the playoff. I love this. I love the 12-team playoff. I've been saying it all year. I think this is great. I think it's incredible. I think we're going to have a ton of fun. The home games are awesome. The fact that you can get an Ohio State hosting Tennessee in the shoe in a meaningful playoff game, that's incredible. And then you go to the bowl games and playing. It's Oregon's going to play somebody at the Rose Bowl. It's going to be classic. Maybe an Oregon Ohio State Rose Bowl, throwing it back to the Pac-12 versus Big Ten days of old. I mean, this is awesome. I don't mean to take away anything from this being awesome. Please do not take from this that I don't like the 12-team playoff. However, I am of the opinion that the hardest road in the entire college football playoff is Oregon's, which is crazy, right? Because they got the top seed. The team with the top seed deserves the easiest road. Let's just look at who they have to play. If favorites win, first they would play Ohio State, the team that took them to the wire in Oregon and is, I think, third in championship odds. Okay, then if favorites continue to win, they'll play Texas at the Cotton Bowl at AT&T Stadium, a road game. AT&T Stadium, if you don't know, is the Cowboy Stadium. So at AT&T, basically a home game for Texas. And then they would play the championship against Georgia. So preseason top 4 teams were Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, and Texas. They will play all 3 of those teams. Now you can say, oh, Ohio State or Tennessee has the hardest road because first they have to play each other and then they have that same road. That's fair. What I'm more talking about is from the byes, right? How is it that Boise State has the easiest road by far of the bye teams, right? Like they play a weak Penn State team. They play, like they don't have to play Oregon. They have the easiest road of the teams with byes. And here's how it happens. Okay, here's how it happens. The committee inflated the value of playing in a conference championship game. That's what happened. If you were to go purely off of resume, there is no non-bye team. Okay, so outside of, and we'll not even say non-bye, outside of the top 2 teams, Oregon and Georgia, there is no team with a better resume than Ohio State. There is not a team with a better resume than Ohio State outside of the top 2 teams. I know they lost to Michigan. I know that's ugly. There is no team with a better resume than Ohio State. Who's better? Texas's resume? We don't have a ranked win. Penn State's resume? Ohio State beat them head to head. Now they both have 2 losses. How about Notre Dame? Notre Dame lost to NIU and they've played nobody all year. So therefore, I would argue Ohio State should have been the 5 seed if we were to do this in a way that's fair, right? In a way that's truly fair, truly just resume comparison. But the committee came out and said, we're not going to punish teams who lose in their conference championship games. So you get an artificial floor. Joel Klatt was talking about this artificial floor for teams like Texas, for teams like Penn State, for teams like SMU. And it's wrong. In my opinion, it's wrong. Now, am I grateful for the spot that Texas was in, where Texas now gets to host Clemson and then play Arizona State? Yes, I am grateful for that road. I'm very happy we got that road. I think if we don't make a semifinal, it's a massive failure. And it's a very easy road. There's really no reason not to make it to a semifinal. And I'm grateful for that. I am. But you can't tell me that Ohio State doesn't have a better resume than Texas. You cannot tell me that. Ohio State's got better wins, better loss versus Oregon on the road than Texas at home against Georgia. They do have the loss against Michigan, which is bad. But I think their wins as a 2-loss team would take them over any other team outside of the top 2 with no comparison. Another thing that's a problem is the auto buys. Boise State automatically getting the 3 and Arizona State automatically getting the 4 creates this artificial system where somebody is going to get this easy path, right? Where somebody is going to end up with playing SMU and then Boise State or Clemson and then Arizona State. I mean, the roads for the 5 and 6, and I was banging this drum earlier in the season, are way easier than the roads for the 7, 8, and 9. And who has a tougher draw than Tennessee? at Ohio State, and then the Oregon road we talked about, Oregon, Texas, Georgia, you're not winning that. If Tennessee wins the national championship, it will be, I mean, it will be a legend, a story of legend. I mean, what a road, right? Um, and the two most powerful people in football are the Big Ten commissioner and the SEC commissioner. They will find a way to get this changed. SEC commissioner sitting there saying, wait a minute, I only got 3 teams in, and one of them has the hardest road. And, you know, it's not going to work. And the Big Ten commissioner sitting there thinking, wait a minute, or 2 of my teams have the hardest road, Oregon and Ohio State. The winner of, if favorites win, of the winner of Oregon, Ohio State, then has to play Texas and Georgia. That's the toughest road. And it's not going to work. It's not going to work like this for much longer. I guarantee you that there will not be auto buys in future renditions of the college football playoff. There will be auto bids. There will not be auto buys, as there shouldn't be. There will be some allotment of guaranteed spots for the SEC and Big Ten. And that will be a better system. It will. It will be a better system. Now, the last thing is the committee put in SMU over Alabama. As again, with the artificial conference championship, floor. I hate to just plagiarize Joe Klatt and talk about this artificial floor, but I mean, that's what happened, right? That's what happened. SMU does not win a resume comparison against Alabama. I think it's on paper and like mentally, I think it's the right thing that SMU goes. They were 11-1. You shouldn't be punished for playing in your conference championship, fine. But this team now is 11-2 compared to Alabama's 9-3. SMU has 0 ranked wins, nothing close to a ranked win. Their strength of schedule is in the 70s, and Alabama's schedule is much tougher. They beat Georgia. They have a much more impressive resume. They do. They have a better resume. They would win a heads-up resume conversation against SMU. The only reason SMU is in is because they made a conference championship game, and the committee is valuing that, as you can see with Texas, as you can see with Penn State, as you can see with SMU. I feel bad for Oregon. I want to feel bad for Ohio State, but I fucking hate Ohio State and I hate their fans, so I don't really care that much. I actually hope that they get bounced first round in the shoe. I think that would be incredible. That's all on college football for me, at least. I guess I'll pick a champion. I'll pick a champion. I would fill out a bracket. Let's see if we can fill out a bracket online here. CFP blank bracket fill out. I don't know. Is that something you can do? Fill out a bracket? Oh, whoa. Okay. No, it doesn't seem like we can fill out a bracket. Okay, that's fine. We'll do it. We'll do it verbally, and everybody will just follow along. I like all of the favorites in the first round. I like all of the home teams. I think the only one with a real puncher. Oh, I'm not gonna say that. I think if anybody were to catch anybody, it would probably be Tennessee or Indiana catching either Ohio State or Notre Dame. That being said, I like all the favorites. I think Texas is vastly better than Clemson. I think Ohio State is better than Tennessee, and they're at home. I think Penn State is vastly better than SMU, and I think Notre Dame should be able to handle Indiana. These matchups are incredible, and they're fun. The in-state Indiana rivalry, Tennessee at Ohio State, the branding of Clemson at Texas, those 3 are great. SMU, Penn State, that messes it up. If it was Alabama at Penn State, it would be like, holy cow, look at the brands, look how incredible this is. SMU just makes it a little uglier, but it's still incredible. It's still absolutely incredible. I like Texas over Arizona State. I like Oregon over Ohio State, and that scares me a lot. I think that Ohio State might even come into that game favored. That game will be incredible. Again, I think that game will be incredible. So give me Texas versus Oregon. in the Cotton Bowl Classic. And then I do like Penn State over Boise State. I I mean, I'm sitting here talking, let's fill out a bracket. Let's fill out a bracket. Oh yeah, what are you gonna do? Pick every single favorite? Yeah, I am gonna pick every single favorite. I think Penn State's better than Boise State. I think Notre Dame is or I think Georgia is better than Notre Dame. Give me the favorites and give me Texas versus Oregon here, Penn State versus Georgia here, and frankly, give me Texas versus Georgia in a rematch in the championship. Um, I think Texas and Georgia are the best two teams in the country. Uh, I, I could see Oregon beating Texas. Absolutely, I could see Oregon beating Texas, but there's no way I'm going to pick against the Horns. And in the third matchup of the year, Texas goes to Arch Manning, the boy savior, who comes in and defeats Georgia. Give me the Horns in the college football championship. Uh, Love it. Absolutely love it. College football playoff. It's incredible. And I hope you love it as much as I do. We had a pretty fun weekend of NFL. A very fun weekend of NFL. There's a few games that are like must talk about, and there's a few games that are like must not talk about. So let's just bang out a few. Well, we'll go in order, but there are a few that are just like I don't care. One of which I don't care is the Jaguars beat the Titans 10-6. The only story from this game is the Raiders and Giants are now the only two win teams. And I believe the Raiders have the first overall pick. The Giants have the second overall pick. Those two teams both need quarterbacks. So there you have it. So great win for, at least for me. It's a great that the Jaguars win this game. How they win this game, I really don't know. Brian Thomas Jr. is really good. Outside of that, I mean, 10-6 Jaguars over Titans. I feel like I've already talked too much about this game, so I'm going to stop. Dolphins 32, Jets 26. The Dolphins are lurking, y'all, and I trust the Dolphins more than I trust the Broncos. I'm sorry to say it. I like Bo Nix. I think he's good. I think he's fun. I trust the Dolphins more. They only have 7 losses. They can get to 10-7. They'll have to win out to do it, but it's not impossible. And yeah, I mean, I like this Dolphins team. They beat the Jets in overtime. So, I mean, it's not a game that you should come out of being like, holy shit, the Dolphins are incredible. This is the Jets, and they barely escaped against the Jets. But since Tua's come back, this Dolphins team has been much better. Actually, quite good. Tyreek Hill finally getting involved. Devon Achane's incredible. Jalen Waddle's playing well. Jonnu Smith is playing well. He had the plays in overtime to seal the deal. Yeah, I mean this team is good on offense. They're actually better on defense than you would think. And as long as they don't have to play in the cold, this Dolphins team is not bad. They're not bad, and they may be able to make a run for the wild card. If not, then they're at least going to have a chance to play spoiler for a couple teams. Vikings 42, Falcons 21. This one is worth talking about. It's the Kirk Cousins versus old team game. I picked the Falcons in this game, and I should not have. Kirk Cousins threw another 4 interceptions, I think, and Sam Darnold threw 5 touchdowns. Just glaring vast difference between where the two quarterbacks are at in their careers. The Vikings clearly having made the right move, and yeah, I mean that's the big thing in the game. Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison combined for 5 touchdowns. Addison had 3, Jefferson had 2. Over and over again, they were just streaking open downfield, just wide open. It is really difficult to cover both of those guys. And Sam Darnold played well. He did what he needed to do. Threw 5 touchdowns, 350 yards. A monster game out of him. Kirk Cousins, I think, looks old. He looks old, frankly. And yeah, I mean, there's not really. I'm surprised that the Vikings fans booed Kirk Cousins. I don't think Kirk Cousins is a guy that you should boo. I mean, he did a good job for the Vikings for a while. No, you never got over the hump, and like you weren't winning playoff games, but he made your team win regular season games at least, which isn't always the case. So I don't know. I like Kirk Cousins, but Um, maybe the Falcons go to Penix. They're still alive in the division, but they are down a game to the Bucks. Maybe they go to Michael Penix. I don't know. They've got Cousins on a 2-year deal guaranteed though, so at the minimum, we're going to get Kirk Cousins for another year. It's just a matter of do we want to go to Penix and see what we have, you know? Saints 14, Giants 11. Okay, that's the end of that. Let's move on to the next game. Eagles 22, Panthers 16. The Panthers can play a one-score game against absolutely anyone. They can hang tough with anyone. Bryce Young is honestly playing really, really well. And it's not like the numbers are incredible. Like 19 for 34, 191 yards and a touchdown. It's not like he was like dicing up the Eagles secondary or anything like that. But just via the eye test, you can see that he's playing vastly better. He looks like in control in the pocket, not flustered. Hits guys deep, avoids sacks, scrambles around, hits guys. I mean, if Xavier Legette catches that touchdown, they go up 23-22, and there's only 40 seconds left. Yes, the Eagles had 3 timeouts. I do still think the Eagles would have won the game, but Bryce Young is playing well. The Panthers are playing better. Dave Canales, I think, is a competent coach and should be a guy that they stick with for a while. And it's a team that I hope and I think should be starting to believe in what they're capable of. I think that they are better than their record says, even though their record says they are god awful. They are bad, but they're not as bad as the Giants or the Raiders or the Browns or a lot of these other 2 and 3 win teams, right? Eagles are still my pick for the Super Bowl. I think they're so good. This game was a bit of a sleeper spot, though. That scares me. But they'll be ready come playoff time. I think the Eagles are the best team in football. Steelers 27, Browns 14. Yeah, I mean the Steelers had to win this game. They had to. You can't get swept by the Browns. They extend their streak. They've beaten the Browns at home 21 years in a row in the regular season. Obviously, Baker Mayfield came to town and beat the doors off of them in that playoff game in, I don't know, what was that, 2020, something like that. But it's a nice win for the Steelers. Their defense is so good. Russell Wilson's the only thing that makes you not want to trust the Steelers, and I get that. He makes me not want to trust the Steelers. But they're 10-3. They're a very good team. I don't think they're Super Bowl caliber, but they are very good. Bucks 28, Raiders 13. The Bucks take the lead in this division, and the Raiders continue to tank. I loved the shot of the Raiders are driving, and it looks like they're gonna score a touchdown and make this game competitive, make it close, take the lead even. And Aiden O'Connell just throws the worst pick, like the worst interception you've ever seen. And it cuts to the guys up in the box, and they're all like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And that's the Aiden O'Connell Raiders. That's what you're gonna get. He actually got hurt in this game, and then they went to Desmond Ridder. It's one of the most bleak quarterback situations you can think of. It's Desmond Ridder, Gardner Minshew, and Aiden O'Connell, and they are all injured. It's a total mess. Maybe Shedeur, though? Maybe Cam Ward or Shedeur? Seahawks 30, Cardinals 18. The Seahawks are hot. And they are a team nobody's going to want to play in the NFC. They're playing really well. They now have a lead in the division, not a commanding lead, but they do have a lead. And they're just playing really well. I mean, they can run the ball. Charbonnet ran all over them, all over the Cardinals in this game. The weapons are good. DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith-Njigba, even Tyler Lockett, even though he's kind of old, is still semi-productive. The Seahawks team is good. They're not a Super Bowl threat. They're not a real contender, but they're a team that nobody's going to want to play in the playoffs. However, there's another team in the NFC West that I don't think anybody's going to want to play, and it's a team that can score 1 billion points. At will. At will can score a billion points. Is their defense any good? No. No, 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 no. Their defense is terrible. It's the Rams, 44-42 over the Buffalo Bills. The Rams defense is very bad. So you have to preface everything with their defense is bad. Their offense is so good. If you get Puka and Cup and Kyron going, the offense is so good. And every like once a game, oh, what's his name? He wears 15. I know his name, and this is gonna kill me. Um, Something along the lines of, dude, no way. I'm gonna have to check the box score. This feels so bad. I know his name. Something with a D. What's your name? Demarcus. Demarcus Robinson gets open for a deep pass every single game. I knew it was something D. Demarcus Robinson. Um, yeah, I mean he's open once a game on a deep route. Even Tutu Atwell is a great speed option guy. I really like the Rams offense. I have either Puka Nakua or Cooper Cup or Kyron Williams in every fantasy league. I love them all. I think they're so talented. Matt Stafford, I think, is incredible. And this Rams team can absolutely make a run at this division. Uh, they still have a game against the Seahawks, likely for the division in Week 18. They got to beat the Niners, Jets, and Cardinals. I think they can. I think that can be done. I think they're probably better than all those teams. And then it's can you beat the Seahawks in Seattle for the division? Week 18 is likely how it's going to go. Yeah, this Rams team is fun, and I really like Matt Stafford. Now, for the Bills, does this diminish in any way, what we think of the Bills as a potential Super Bowl contender? I would say yes, a little bit. It shows me that a team can beat them in a shootout. Now, you're unlikely to beat the Bills in an ugly, like in a game in the 20s, I really trust the Bills. But if you can push a game to the 30s, 40s, 50s, they can be outscored. They can be beaten in a track meet. Their weapons are not as good as many other teams' weapons. I think that was sort of the difference in this game. Even though Josh Allen was just absolutely incredible. If you had Josh Allen in fantasy football or Puka Nakua in fantasy football, odds are you won this week. And yeah, I mean, this game was awesome. Instant classic level game. Like, so fun to watch. I could not take my eyes away from this game, especially given that the other games in this slate, Seahawks, Cardinals, and Bears, Niners, were relatively boring. The whole NFC West was going, and three of the teams won. Lastly, we've got the Niners 38-13 over the Bears. The Bears are so bad. The Bears are just so bad. They will do everything wrong at every turn. They suck. The Bears suck. The season is over. 0-6 on the road. I mean, just awful. I do think Caleb Williams is going to be good. I think he will have a good career. They got to put the right offensive minds around him, the right coaches and everything, and ideally some more offensive linemen. But the Bears are terrible, and Caleb, I think, will be good. Other than that, there's not much to talk about there. Chiefs 19, Chargers 17. The Chiefs always find a way. Chargers cover the spread. I love Chargers covering the spread in this game. Had it the whole way. And yeah, I mean, the Chiefs are just really, really good. Probably the best team in the AFC. Probably going to win another Super Bowl. Be prepared for it. The Chargers are a team I think is built to beat the Chiefs, and they couldn't get it done. Too many missed deep shots for the Chargers. Just so many opportunities that just didn't quite get there. I thought Justin Herbert played well, but it's another situation with, in my opinion, it's weapons. Like you just are not going to win if Lad McConkey's out and it's Josh Palmer and Quentin Johnson. It's just not enough, in my opinion, to beat a team of the caliber of the Chiefs, probably. Lastly, Bengals 27, Cowboys 20. Yeah, I mean the Bengals are good. It's one of those games that feels like they shouldn't have won this game. They got bailed out by a blocked punt that they recovered for a first down. Would the Cowboys have driven the field and scored? Probably not. And maybe the Bengals still would have found a way to win. But at this point, the Bengals are out of the playoffs more than likely. They'd have to win out, and even then, they're probably out. Uh, and it feels like Joe Burrow is just looking to get Jamar Chase the Triple Crown for receiving. 14 catches, 177 yards, 2 touchdowns. Video game numbers for Jamar Chase, and he's doing it week in and week out. Um, and that offense is just so good, so good. On the Cowboys side, it just a disaster, really. I mean, this says Cowboys special teams disaster leads to Jamar Chase touchdown. I think that's a fair way to say it. This was a game that was effectively won. And if you did win this game, you'd be 6-7. It'd be like, hang on, like the Cowboys yes, they're having a bad season, but they'd be 6-7. Like you'd have to give them some credit for the level of fight that they've put up. And I think you still do have to give them credit for the level of fight they've put up. This is a team that could have chosen to lay down and die. And they're not. They're not laying down and dying. They are trying to win games, which is, I think, really fun. I think good for football. Unfortunately, the Bengals are better, but not by much. And maybe reevaluate what you think of the Bengals. It's so hard. I mean, I'm addicted to the Bengals. I cannot quit them, but they are bad. They are not good. All right, well, that's all we got for this show. We got college football and NFL. I mean, that's really all it is these days. College basketball's kicking into gear. The NBA Cup is going on. If you care about the NBA Cup, me personally, I do not care one bit about the NBA Cup, so you won't catch me watching it. I'm hyped for the college football playoff. This is my main thing. This is all I'm gonna think about for the next month and a half is gonna be this. You know, this is all I'm thinking about. This is it. I've dreamed of this. It's gonna be great. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have an incredible Tuesday. If you would like, comment, subscribe, share the show with a friend, share the show with all the friends you want. And I will see all of you in the next one, which will be the preview show on Friday. Goodbye. Wait, I can't find the stop recording button. This is why I need to hire an editor. Okay, goodbye for real now.